Okay, guys, we are only a couple days away now from South Africa playing Italy in their first real test of the season. This starts a two-match test up against Italy. The first is going to be played at Loftus on the 5th of July, so this weekend. Plus, we are also going to be seeing them playing on the 12th of July at Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium. Now, this is going to be interesting because South Africa, they just came off of a big win, 54-7 over the Barbarians, really setting their story or setting their season off on the best foot physically possible, right? I don't think they could have started it any better, even if they had tried to. Rassi, he's given a couple of players a couple of tries. You know, he's seeing positions, he's seeing how players work. Obviously, the Springboks performed very, very well up against the Barbarians, but you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. The Barbarians are a team of stars that have just been put together. They haven't had a lot of time playing with each other. They do not understand each other the way that a normal national side would. So, nonetheless, South Africa dominated. And there's a reason why we are the best in the world. But you can never count out Italy, right? This is just one thing that is a surefire test for disaster, concoction for disaster. It's counting out Italy. Now, South Africa and Italy have a deep history, 16 games, and 15 of which were won by South Africa, and a good portion of them relatively easily. However, Italy did manage to get one win in 2016, where they actually ended up beating South Africa 2016 in Florence. And this was their only win. It was a brilliant performance. But we look at the last three meetings between Italy and South Africa. We have in 2022, 63-21, 2019, 49-3, and then 2017, 35-6. So all relatively routine wins for the Springboks, right? Italy did have a pretty good showing in the Six Nations. Um, they ended up finishing fifth, I believe, and they had a real resurgence come the second half of the season, second half of the tournament, where they really started to put a lot of teams under pressure. I mean, when you're talking about players like Boks and Menoncello, Ange Capuozzo, considering how he looked when Toulouse played Bordeaux in the final and he was still on his crutches, I can't see him getting any game time. But you never know. I feel it's highly unlikely. Jean Klein, I do believe he ended up getting injured as well due to injury picked up in the Barbarians. But there's ever one thing that the Springboks are not missing, and that's quality and depth, especially in terms of forwards. So we have so many forwards, we have so many locks that can potentially take its place. There's a lot of talent here, which is just going to be a thing of finding out, players. Russ is going to have a lot of fun rotating players. He's got a big squad, and now it's just going to be seeing who works best where, right? So Italy's going to be a good start. Russ is going to use this opportunity to really start putting pressure on the players, to start putting them into better environments, but also to start, seeing who's going to fit better in which position. We probably are going to end up seeing players like Kane and Moody get some game time. Afellele Fassi, he managed to play brilliantly up against the Barbarians, and his kicking game is just on point. I do love watching him play. But then you have Andre Estres and Curtly Arendse, so many players, Evan Ruiz as well. So it's going to be seeing how Rassi decides he wants to handle his monsters, right? How What kind of system is he going to want to play? Because we know South Africa are very dominant when it comes to their scrums, when it comes to their lineouts. We obviously saw a lot of flaws in the Springboks scrums up against the Barbarians. Their lineouts were really good, but work needs to be done. So I think we are pretty much going to see a big rotation between the game that South Africa had up against the Barbarians to Italy. But like I say, it's not going to be easy. When we're talking about Menoncello, Lamaro, Brex, Garbisi brothers, um, there is a lot of talent on that side. It just comes down to their depth in quality and, their depth, especially in terms of their forwards. So I do feel South Africa are faster, stronger, better, tactically, mentally, physically than the Italians. But again, never say never. We could potentially see another repeat of 2016. So when we look at the Springboks, they're always going to end up playing the same thing. They're going to dominate the scrums. They're going to dominate the mauls. They're going to dominate the lineouts. They want to be as physical as possible. They want to be as imposing as possible. And then use their long kicking to force Italy under pressure. Use players like your Arendse, your Damien Dialendes, your Chess and Colbys to be putting a lot of pressure on those Italians to basically push play, right? Put them under pressure to make sure that they are forcing play, making mistakes. At the breakdown, we are going to be seeing heavy, heavy hitters, and you know they're just going to work it out, right? They're going to work with the pressure, make Italy suffer under the pain, and then just gradually break them down. We look at Italy, we know that they like to play that quick, fast ball. They really are going to be trying to avoid as many set pieces as possible because the Springboks are very dominant with that. But when you have a lot of the quality that they have, especially on their back three, they can cause a lot of problems. They are able to find those little gaps, which can make them quite difficult to tackle. But I can't see this going anything other than a South Africa win. Um, South Africa are preparing for war. They're preparing for a strong end to the season. They're going to be preparing quite heavily with one eye and one part of their mind set on that fateful encounter that's going to be between South Africa and the All Blacks. But mostly, I see this as testing grounds, and I hate to say it, but I see Italy as a test for the Springboks. They are going to find out who works best, who's doing what, looking into form, looking into quality. And it's basically just going to be like a science experiment for Rassi, who he's going to play, how they're going to play in preparation to the big, big, big games that they're going to be having later on in the year. Because we know South Africa, especially in the later end, we have monsters to contest with. And New Zealand at Eden Park is going to be the monster of all monsters. Because honestly, if South Africa are able to come through with a win there, that'd be another historic moment for the Springboks, not only after having the Barbarians come to Cape Town for the first time ever, but also to be able to beat the All Blacks um, at home, at Eden Park. That's not going to be easy. I think their tests up against France will also go to show them their quality, the ability as well, because obviously France aren't going to be playing a big squad. They're going to be playing a B team essentially. None of the big hitters are going there. But obviously we have the top team to take into consideration. A lot of them are worn out and just completely destroyed. But it's going to come down to a war of attrition, right? Who can outlast? And I feel the Springboks are going to have far too much strength. They are going to dominate when it comes to the scrums. They're going to put that pressure on. They're going to get them into that 22, and they're going to make Italy suffer. They're going to tire them out. By half time, the Italians' legs are going to be burning so much that they just want to be getting into a cold bath. And then after all of that, after their hearts are pumping so hard, it feels like it's about to rip out of their chest. Russ is then going to bring on another 5, 6 forwards, fresh, fit, and ready to dominate once again. So ultimately, I have a feeling that we are going to be seeing another big game by South Africa. I can't even think what kind of squad we are going to potentially play, because I know Rassi's going to want to change things up quite a bit. So for this one, I am going to kind of wait until we see, until we either we get more information or we see Rassi drop his squad before I go doing my predictions. But I am giving this South Africa to win by 30 points. Some of you might call me crazy. I see it as it is. Italy are a good side, but they are in no comparison to the Springboks. I can't see 2016 happening again. And even then, that was a close battle that was won by 2 points. South Africa aren't normally that forgiving. And you got to break down that defense. You got to break down those those warriors that are ready to live and die by the by the shirt, by the jersey. So let me know what you guys think. Who's your favorite to win? And I want to hear from your Italians. What about Ange Capuozzo? This is a big loss for you. Brex is a monster. Menoncello is a nightmare to handle. Do they have enough quality in depth to take on South Africa? As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.